everywhere, drawn into one of the tanks. Lucky for Fantasy that they didn't get drawn into the second tank as well. That could have been very bad for him. Only one starport producing science vessels. Note that those science vessels are not going to be coming out very, very quickly. Fantasy would be well advised to produce a second starport and produce more vessels. But it's kind of interesting that Fantasy has transferred into essentially a fully mech army here. We see a lot of vultures, a lot of tanks, not a whole lot of medic marine here in any way. So this is definitely a huge transition from not seeing the medic marine at all. And I think this has kind of caught Zero completely by surprise. Did not expect to see this number of tanks, but some nice swarms going down, and that should allow his ultras to maybe get in there. But just too many tanks for Fantasy. When you get to this number of tanks, even if all they're doing is splash damage, that is more than enough splash damage to just take down the world. And Zero looks like he might be in for a world of hurt. I just don't know if he really has it in him to deal with this. I don't think he's really playing this correctly. I think he needs to bring in some forces from the right side. He's moving everything through those Nidus canals. I think he needs to bring in some forces from the right as well as the left. Go for a pincer attack on these siege tanks if he really wants to take this down. Otherwise, he's just expending a lot of forces to do very, very minimal damage, and he is just in a world of hurt right now. That base is going to go down. He's going to go down to 3 bases here, and Overlord's just being sent in here with some cracklings. That is not going to be effective at all, Zero. That is just, oh wow, that is just god-awful, and I don't know if they're even going to kill a single Marine. There's finally the Defiler Swarm, but that is so late, and a plague going off as well, but that is so late that it just doesn't really matter. Even just SCVs and these mines are going to be enough to take that down. It looks like Zero's going to try and take this base to the top right, but I fear for Zero. I fear that this may be too late, maybe too little too late. It looks like another drop being loaded up. That Defiler not being picked up, I hope he did not forget the Defiler. If he forgot the Defiler and that this drop does absolutely nothing because of it, I would be so depressed. Just to see that kind of a sloppy play. And these two Zerglings actually still doing some damage here, but that medic actually looks like it's enough to keep these SCVs alive. That's pretty funny, at least for the time being, until Fantasy noticed there. Fantasy finally notices, and he should be able to clean this up pretty effectively. Zero coming in for a drop. There are some turrets that are waiting for him. Looks like he's also going for a drop at the 3 o'clock position. Goliath's waiting for him. That's going to be big trouble for Zero. Getting that swarm down, but those mines could do a ton of damage if they're not diffused. I think they were diffused. I wonder how the 3 o'clock attack is going. That 3 o'clock attack looks like it's going to be successful, actually. Zero bringing in some more forces. Looks like he actually is going to take this down, actually. If he takes down that 3 o'clock position, that'll be a huge boon to him in this game. Absolutely, that will help him out a lot. It looks like Fantasy's also moving a command center to another base at the top right, looking to take that up as well. But yeah, this is a good play by Zero. Looks like he might be able to take down that armory, which will stop Goliath production and will also stop these upgrades that have been absolutely terrorizing him. These 1-1 upgrades on these tanks have just been absolutely manhandling his ultras, and that will help him significantly as long as he can get his upgrades up and running in good form as well. Also sending an ultras to the top left base, able to do some damage there as well. So Fantasy's mining has been disrupted quite significantly here. That base at the 3 o'clock not mining, the command center has been lifted at the 9 o'clock, and the base at the 10 o'clock is being harassed by an ultras. So some good play there, and a couple ultras still alive in the main, taking down turrets, possibly could start taking down supply depots as well. But it looks like Fantasy may be pushing at the natural expansion of Zero. Looks like there's a lot of teal over there, and he could actually do some damage in that area. One of these bunkers still loaded up with Marines. That is just a ton of tanks. How does a Zerg player deal with this? He really needs a lot of swarm, needs a lot of Zerglings. Could just go for a Mutalisk tech switch. That could work even. Just get some Mutalisk out and just demolish all these tanks one by one. But I just don't see Zero doing that. Zero just doesn't seem like he wants to do that Mutalisk tech switch, but I think that could be so effective if he did a Mutalisk tech switch here. So little anti-air, and this 6 o'clock base being harassed by vultures, and Zero's just going to lose a ton of Zerglings there, or of drones there, not even producing a second colony, not moving those drones away, just being absolutely manhandled right now. And Zero just looks like his multitask is not there right now, not able to deal with all this pressure from Fantasy, losing a ton of drones left and right at virtually every single brace. He's not going to be mining very effectively at all anymore. These ultras looks like they will be able to clean up most of these tanks, and some nice Zergling bombs being used here to take down a lot of forces, but just too many tanks. Look at all these tanks. They're not even sieged anymore, and they're going to be able to clean up all those ultras. Just too many tanks. Too much for Zero to deal with, and Zero's just, it feels like Zero's just starting to get to the end of the line, where as soon as his harassment forces get cleaned up here, nice Scourge coming in there, picking off a science vessel. As soon as his harassment forces get picked off and get finished, another science vessel going down, he's going to be in huge trouble, because he's just not mining. He's mining off of that base at the bottom left. He's kind of mining off of the top right base once he gets started, and that 6 o'clock base looks like it's been harassed to death. Fantasy, meanwhile, isn't really mining either, but he's got the superior army, and when neither player is mining significantly, the player with the superior army on the ground is in a dramatic advantage, and that's the situation we're in right now, where Fantasy just has that dramatic advantage because of his army on the ground. That 6 o'clock base has been completely nullified, absolutely no mining going on there. So Zero really only mining off of 1 1/4, 1.5 bases, and Fantasy, I think he can start mining from that top left base and that top right base, so he'll be mining off of 2 bases shortly enough. And actually, Zergling drop at this top right base. So Zero, noting his disadvantage, looks like he's going to try and figure out a way to stay in this. Going to stop mining at that top right base. Going to try and hold Fantasy back here. Fantasy has been in a position where he's been close to finishing this game, but it looks like Zero, just with this harassment techniques, has just barely been enough to stay in this game. And taking down that command center, I don't think that was lifted. Wow, it looks like Fantasy forgot to lift that base, wasn't able to notice that. And these vultures at that bottom left, once again, have been able to take down that natural expansion. Or at least to stop mining there. And that top left base for Fantasy looks like he's mining again. And Fantasy just, I can't tell. I mean, Fantasy looked like he would be in a dominating position to take this game down, but it looks like these Zergling drops have really been hurting him significantly here. And it looks like Zero's coming in here for yet another drop attack at the main. And a swarm here could be very, very effective over the factory. Swarm, yes! And now we could be seeing some factory death going down here. No cracklings actually being sent in here yet, unfortunately. He really needs some cracklings to be the main damage dealer. The Ultras are in position to absorb the damage, but he needs some crackling. Oh, there they are. There's the crackling coming in here. He's going to start going for the supply depot. He's going to probably be able to take down some of these factories if he's quick enough. If only he had a couple more overlords full of Zerglings, this could just be absolute terrorizing this entire base. And that mine could do so much damage. Oh, wow. That mine taking down the Defiler. That is absolutely huge. Taking down the Defiler as well as several of those Zerglings. So that is going to be painful for him. For Zero there. This attack did have some success. He stopped mining more or less for Fantasy at every base except that 3 o'clock. Oh no, that top left is mining again. And it looks like he's lost his natural expansion. And once again, Vulture's coming to the 6 o'clock, going to stop the mining there again. And Zero needs to find a way to defend these bases. I know he's low on money, but he needs to find a way to defend these bases. Just lost another 7 drones, it looks like. And that is just awful. Now the top right base is being harassed by Vultures as well. Both these players just choosing to harass the other. Neither player deciding to defend. It looks like this is like watching hopefully this next week of the NFL, we'll be seeing New Orleans playing Arizona. Hopefully that'll be like a 75 to 80 bit game, and there will be no defense, but looks like both these players are pretending that all they have is offense and just harassing each other to death, neither one choosing to play any defense, and that's why this game is still going on right now. If Fantasy was played a little bit better defense, I think he would have won already. If Zero was playing a little bit better defense, I think we could be seeing Fantasy very much on the ropes, but in my opinion, Zero is still on the ropes here. Zero is still the one that's going to be struggling here in this game. It's close, it's definitely close, but Zero's just not mining enough to just... And a Zerg player really needs to be mining. It's more critical that a Zerg player is mining than that a Terran player is necessarily mining for the whole game. And these mines have just been so devastating throughout this entire game here. And some tanks coming in here to clean up the top left. Looks like he's going to be able to start mining safely again. Finally, some sunken colonies coming down. If those sunken colonies were up 3 minutes earlier, 4 minutes earlier, that could have been so helpful for him. But it's just not enough. And now Goliaths are coming out. Once the vultures stop being produced, and once you start seeing Goliaths coming out in mass for a Terran player and the mechanized